Dance for me is my passion. It makes me who I am. It celebrates being alive. It takes me through all the major emotions on a daily basis, but also on a living basis. So I know that my form is essential to me as a person, but also I know the form, dance, is essential. My passion, and that's the word that I use so much, is that everyone can dance, and indeed a blink of an eye is a dance. So with that passion, I've got myself committed to my profession and being a professional. And then when the isolation time came, when COVID appeared, it was like, now this is a real test, because am I going to stop living then? Because I can't dance with the communities I dance with. I can't be in studios moving with people who can move and touch. And how do I do this? And I've been hugely reluctant to work virtually, to the idea that you have to try and do your passionate thing in a box. Yet I know that my practice as an artist and my application of my practice to the communities I work in are essential. So all my career, I have had a belief that you must never stop feeding yourself. So you can't go and give if you're not receiving. And I also realized that actually giving to my community gives me back as much as I give. But then in this period, how do you give? And I went into a kind of sulk for about 3 weeks where I couldn't even communicate with my group, particularly that I work with, Dugout, who dances with me on a Tuesday night here in Oxford. I couldn't communicate with them. I felt so unhappy and so isolated. I didn't want to compromise my dance. I didn't want to compromise their dance. I realized in isolation that I would have to somehow find my practice without anyone else, without anything else. And so much of my feeding is off other people, with other people. And in this case, it was like emptiness. And does that mean maybe I won't exist anymore if I can't do my dance? And then out of this emptiness came this delight that I met Kirstie, who our paths had been crossing, but not on a regular basis. We didn't meet in the same studio once a week. And then suddenly we could meet in the same studio once a week, virtually. We could talk, we could collaborate with ideas, we could exchange. And I had no clue how much this would blossom and feed my practice.
Wow, Cecilia, I just thought it's really wonderful to reflect on our sort of weaving pathways of how we've sort of come together over the years, and then we've parted for many years and then come back again. And how I'd met you, but you weren't aware of me because you were working with Extemporary Dance Company. And then when I was about 16, I met you again at the National Youth Dance. I was on the training scheme, and you were very significant to me because you sort of encouraged me to apply to go to dance at Swindon at Thamesdown. And then how we've sort of crossed over through the years from a work together, and then I've seen you in a dance studio or in a restaurant, or, you know, we've been around each other the whole time. You know, we both very keen on Joan Skinner's work, and obviously you trained with Anna Halprin, and I've gone out and visited Anna Halprin, and we both go down to Helen Poyner as part of the Walk of Life programme. And then later on, when I started to work for Dance Art Foundation for Jo Moran, he brought us both in, and then we started to sort of work together. And I remember coming up to the hospice in Oxford, and we taught together, and we just sort of fitted in. We just both had the same ideas of how we wanted to teach, and sort of the pathway, really. So it was a very easy fit. So I feel that this lockdown has just offered this opportunity for us to reignite so many of these stories.
I so delight in the fact that our paths have crossed, and I delight in the fact that we didn't know any of this was going to happen. None of us know what's going to happen next, but you don't know someone's significant in your life till quite a bit later on, when they keep reappearing. And we have 20 years difference, at least, in our age. And I work intergenerationally all the time, and age is not a matter. In fact, it's really important that we celebrate difference. But you don't go hunting for a collaborator. We found them. We found our collaborations. So I love the fact that our paths and our history crosses so much. And if somebody had said, as a result of isolation, you will find a collaboration that will feed your practice for as many more years as you want, I would have said, no, it won't. I'm sure it won't. It can't. And the delight is that it has, and it is, and it will. And I'm really excited by it. What I delight in is our commonalities, that we just seem to keep on saying, oh, I've done that. Oh, I've got that. And it's all through dance, and it's all through our passionate belief about our practice.
Yeah.
I find it really exciting, really, really exciting.
One of the really exciting things when we started talking was your invitation that maybe we should think of something. But it felt very light touch, which is how you are, how you are. It's so exciting to work together and collaborate and talk, because you offer these little moments without any pressure. So there was no pressure to think, I've got to think of something, or you've got to think of something. But we found this idea of nests, and that we were both nesting. And for me, I just suddenly realized all of this history we have, and this conversation, and what's in our nest, what's stuck in our nest, what's sort of helped build our nest, in terms of our sort of dancing life, but also in terms of our life, our experiences, good and bad.
Yes, it's a useful container. In fact, sounds like a blunt word, container. A nest is a container, but it is. It's not a plastic box. It's a beautiful woven thing. And we've woven nests for each other weekly, sending photos. I sent you a nest in the post, which seemed to get there, that I'd made, not that I'd taken from anywhere. So it's a good symbol or a metaphor for being trapped and yet being completely free. And so it connects to bird, it connects to flight, and for me, really importantly, and for you, it seems that it connects to trees and what trees give us. And so quite early on in our relationship, with your invitation to nest, I thought, here in this garden that I'm in this period, to find a nest in the garden that's mine, where I can dance, where I can meditate. And it took me down to the end of this garden, where hidden amongst some trees are two beautiful redwood trees, which are kind of secret. Nobody knows they're there. And my mother-in-law planted them years ago, 30, 40 years ago. And here they are in the end of my garden, and I journey there, and at the end of that I made a nest. So I have pulled back the ivy from the tree, I've pulled back the brambles, and I've made an earth nest that I visit every day. And also other things visit. I see footprints of other creatures coming and going. For me, the nest is a taking off place. So together and alone, we will use this metaphor, I think, for many years to come. And when we're out of this place of isolation, I think we'll find many nests filling stages that we perform on and invitations for others to join our nests, it'll just blossom. I'm really excited by the potential for it and how much it's growing already. And immediately we started this collaboration, this virtual collaboration, I realized I could then stop sulking and be useful to my community again. So I was able to write them passionate letters about how dance could go on. I was able to remind them to answer the question I'd left them with, why do you dance? What makes you dance? And ask them to continue their solo research. And then I was able to go on with this. I was able to write them scores, which they were able to respond to. I've been receiving the most beautiful films in response to asking them to send me hand films, foot films, to feed my practice and to inspire theirs.
I felt that a dance was coming. By now dressed and warmed, I sat on the riverbank and I gazed at the water for a while. And then I sank down into the cradle of my pelvis, my upper body flopping over. And slowly I felt a pull back upwards, and I found myself drawn very gradually back to the sky above, where the red kite had soared and dipped. My arms joined in the body's pull upwards, reaching and searching, and then down again into the pelvis, the sacrum, the earth. And then, at a moment, back into the pull towards the sky. I kept doing this until a momentum happened, and eventually this brought me onto my feet, a place where I had to peel away from the stability of the connection to the earth through my pelvis. On my feet, I was precarious, newly destabilised, but I was up and rejoicing in that. My spine, my trunk joined the trees in the wind, which was increasing now. I didn't travel much, but in this small space I took some little leaps upwards, as if to enter the wide river and the sky space around me. My arms longed to join with the wings of the kite, wheeling about in the air. And then I felt it was time to go down again, down to the level of the river. I slowly melted back into something watery, down into the earth, down among the bugle flowers and the small nettles. I finished the dance, curled onto my side, rather fetal. I felt my beating heart, listening as I lay there to the wind in the trees.
So the circle, the journey that could be linear, is not. It's a circle. It goes round. We go round. Life goes round. This virus is going round, but out of it will come new and wonderful things.